Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a quick video here, which is going to just simply be a part 2 of the July 4th record finds or whatever. Say a lot of stuff kind of came in over the past couple weeks. I just broke it up into 3 different videos, and this is part 2. So today, this is going to be the R&B, jazz, and a couple hip-hop records in there, but yeah, so we're kind of sticking in those genres. So let's just jump right into it. Gonna start off with the jazz, because one of the things I've been digging quite a bit lately, and I know a lot of people have, are these new Tone Poet reissues. So I picked up a few at the shop, picked up a couple in Kansas City as well this past week. So that was kind of nice. Starting with Lee Morgan, the Rajai here from 1966. Really fantastic pressings. I mean, just great high quality audiophile pressings. You know, I remember like 8 or 9 years ago when there was jazz stuff that I liked, but I really started buying and getting into jazz as far as like the stuff that I should know kind of thing. And I was buying a lot of the Blue Note reissues back then, which was great in the sense that most of them brand new were only running $12, like $11.99, $13.99, maybe on the high side. But at the same time, the quality was just horrible. Like you would take it out of the package and just marks everywhere and all kind of pops and crackles. Like this is a brand new vinyl I just opened. So, you know, they've kind of stepped it up a couple of times, but I definitely think the Tone Poet series is really kind of taking the cake. Just beautiful sounding audiophile type of pressings, great heavy hard or cardboard jacket covers, and just really kind of giving the Blue Note LPs the respect they deserve. So really been getting into these lately. So that's Lee Morgan, the absolute legend there. If you don't know his story, so there is a really good documentary on Netflix, I believe, about his life. You know, really young kid, went through some horrible stuff, died in a very tragic way, but you know, left behind some really great music. Next here we have Katanga. Sorry, trying to get rid of the glare there. And this is Curtis Amy and Dupree Bolton. And again, just more fantastic Blue Note jazz there. I won't get too in-depth describing each album here, and I might have shown this one already. I can't remember if I did or not. But Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers. This is Roots and Herbs. Again, just, you know, one of the just legendary drummers in jazz right there. Art doing his thing. And then we also have more Art Blakey with The Witch Doctor. Another great album. Probably preferred that one a little more, but still both fantastic albums. And last but not least, this was actually kind of somewhat of a blind buy in the sense that I have a couple albums by this artist which I really love, but I had never heard this particular album, which is Andrew Hill's Passing Ships. But again, it was Tone Poet, it was Andrew Hill's. I saw the lineup there too, so I kind of knew it had to be good, and sure enough was not disappointed. Especially the title track, Passing Ships, on here was pretty awesome. So another absolutely great piece there. So those were the Tone Poets that I picked up. And then one other jazz piece, which is the one album I consider to be the greatest jazz album of all time, which is John Coltrane's The Love Supreme. There's only about maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I was gonna say, as far as artists that I collect multiple pressings by, like I collect multiple Metallica stuff, you know, multiple Van Halen stuff. But there's very few artists or albums that I collect multiple copies of. But John Coltrane's Love Supreme is definitely one. Again, I think it's the greatest jazz album of all time. I have a couple of pressings, and I stumbled across this one the other day, and I was like, oh, I pulled it up and felt the cardboard, you know, sleeve, and I was like, okay, this is not a recent reissue, which is nice. So it's in fantastic condition on the MCA Impulse, I guess MCA really kind of rainbow label there. As you can see, vinyl is just clean as can be. So I was like, oh, let me pick up another copy of Love Supreme and wonder what pressing this is. And I looked it up, and it was like a 1980 pressing. And, you know, this came out in '65. And I was like, oh, it's the 80s pressing, 1980, so it's not that old, I guess. But then I kind of thought about it once I said that. I was like, wait a minute, that's 41 years ago. It's like 1980 is a freaking long time ago. Very, very weird to sometimes just get that in perspective. But yeah, John Coltrane's Love Supreme, fantastic album. Like I said, I love collecting all different type of various pressings of this, but still cannot wait to get an original pressing. That's one of my definitely grails. The next one here, and this is one that made me think about Tavis quite a bit. I don't know, just kind of the feel of this album and everything. I just really kind of thought this is one I need to make sure I share with Tavis in case he's not familiar with it. But this is Gregory Porter, Be Good. Artist I wasn't very familiar with, but turned out to be just a really, really great listen on this album. And the thing I like about it, quite frankly, he's not a great singer. Very average, mediocre singer, okay? But the way that he just dives into music on this album with such a mixture of jazz and jazz vocal and R&B and some soul and some gospel. It's just like all of these elements are just kind of sprinkled out, and you never really quite know what the next track is going to bring. So even though he's not the best vocalist in the world, he's kind of like the way I describe Sade. Sade is not necessarily a great singer. Like you compare her to a Whitney Houston or whatever, she is not a great singer, but she makes fantastic, beautiful music, which ultimately is what we care about, right? And this is kind of the same thing. Not the best singer, but just makes some beautiful, kind of different types of R&B, soul, jazzy type of stuff. So really, really great album. And again, just with the flavor of the songs and everything, Tavis, you just kept popping in my mind the entire time I was listening to this. I just kind of felt like it'd be something you would really, really dig. So check that out if you get a chance to see this. Next, Hugh Macasella. I think that's how you pronounce it. That's the way I've always pronounced it. This is Uptown Ship. This is from 1989, I believe. And yeah, Hugh's just another, I consider him kind of a world artist. I definitely kind of like his African flavor. This, I think, is considered more of kind of a jazzy album with world flavor to it. But I was really happy to get this because the first song I ever heard by him that actually brought me to him was his cover of Bob Marley's No and the Wailers' No Woman, No Cry, which he does a cover of that on this particular album. And typically, there's some songs that you just don't touch, right? It's like you will never do it anywhere near the original artist, so just don't even screw with it. And a lot of times Marley songs may kind of be that way, but he brings just as much emotion and flavor to it as Bob did, which to me is saying a lot, because I mean, we're talking about Bob Marley here. But just a fantastic, beautiful cover of that song on this album. If you haven't heard it, make sure you check it out, because again, that was the actual song that introduced me to him, period. So I was happy to find it on vinyl, which was really nice, and I was able to find a sealed copy too, a brand new sealed copy, original pressing. So opened it up and it was nice and clean, no warps or anything, so very, very happy about that pickup. So great stuff there. Kind of a replacement here, little Ike and Tina. Opupavdu, I don't know. I already pronounced that stupid title. But kind of some live performances on here, which are really kind of nice. And of course, Shake a Tail Feather and all kinds of stuff. So I found this at the record show the other day. Very happy to get it back in my collection, because I did purge it a number of years ago, just because I didn't have one in great condition. But as you can see, that one is beautiful. So great to get some Ike and Tina back in. And speaking of some other things in great condition, a nice OG pressing of Sam and Dave, I Thank You. Still in the shrink nonetheless, on the beautiful Atlantic there, which is nice, from 1968 US pressing. So awesome, awesome stuff there. Again, just one of those albums that you never see original pressings in shrink. So very, very cool. And I thank you, these arms of mine, wrap it up. It's just all that great, great soul, heartfelt power soul, if you want to, that Sam and Dave brought to the table. So really cool stuff there. This one here I actually found in a V-Stock, which is a place that I almost never go to anymore to look for records or anything. And I can say that my level of excitement to find this was almost, if not as high as any record I've ever found in a record store before. And not a value thing, okay? So it's not like I found a grail or anything, but it was just one of those records that I love so much. And it was just, I've been wanting to get on vinyl for I don't know how long. And I know they had a 12-inch single of the song Return of the Mac. I'm not sure if the full album was ever pressed on vinyl, or if it was like a DJ type version. But I don't think they ever pressed the full album with full artwork on vinyl. And Return of the Mac is one of my top 3 favorite dance tracks of all time. Madonna's Into the Groove is one that's right there, but Return of the Mac is definitely right there, and probably one of my top 2. That's just how much I've always loved this track. Had the maxi single forever and played it to death. So when I was flipping at V-Stock, just through a nasty old bin, not expecting to find anything, and I saw this pop up, I was like, wait, am I seeing the right thing? I was like, what? And sure as crap, they reissued Mark Morrison Return of the Mac. I was so happy when I saw this. I'm glad I had my mask on, because I was like smiling and all giddy, and I was just like so happy. And it's only like I think I paid $16 for it. So it's not even like some, no grail, no anything. Just an album that I've loved for so long and wanted on vinyl for years and years and years and years and years. And then all of a sudden it shows up and you had no idea it was being released. So fantastic, awesome addition to the collection there. So happy to get that album. Next, we have some additions to the Motown collection, which is Martha and the Vandellas, Greatest Hits, and you kind of know this Motown series, that Gordy series. I love grabbing these when you find them in, near mint condition, because they're everywhere. It's only like a $5, $6 kind of record, but they're always just all beat to crap. So, Dancing in the Streets, Love is Like a Heat Wave. I mean, just, classic, awesome Motown. And then the 2 hip-hop records I picked up, one was DMX Greatest Hits. Didn't have any DMX on vinyl in my collection. I know they've kind of gotten some of his stuff out, and I just wasn't really, I'm not a huge fan in terms of picking up his individual albums, but, they kind of put all of his greatest hits on one album like this. I was pretty cool with grabbing that. So, stuff like Rough Riders, Party Up, all that good stuff. So DMX Greatest Hits, very nice pickup, and this came on a kind of a red and black, like a splatter, whatever you want to call that, vinyl. And last but not least, The Complete Story of Roxanne, the album. Roxanne Shante, one of the first, if not the first, like true female, or at the top female hip-hop artists. I mean, she kind of started it for the ladies and paved the way for them, doing a lot of stuff and kind of playing off so-called battles with UTFO, and just really one of the artists that completely and totally started me with hip-hop in my childhood. Now, I picked this up at the record show because, number one, it was in such great condition, and you don't find a lot of Roxanne stuff that's in great condition. So I picked it up and I was like, oh, that's awesome, great, got it home, and then realized it's her songs, like Roxanne's Revenge, and even the stuff she did back and forth with UTFO, but it's not actually her performing them. It says raps by Dr. J.R. Cool and the other Roxannes. So I guess just other female rappers that they got to do them. But the cool thing about it was they had very much the same type of high tone that the real Roxanne had, and they actually did a pretty good job. It was kind of a nice little spin on songs that I already liked without taking them really away from what they originally were. So I really ended up kind of enjoying the album, and it's just good early old school hip hop up and down. So ended up being a pretty good purchase there. So there you go. Another quick video. That's part 2, and we'll be back with part 3 soon. And as always, VC, thanks for watching, and we will talk to you soon.